Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Moletrap here, bringing you yet another StarCraft commentary. This is our third place match from the IOPS Star League, the IOPS OSL from 2005. I think these games were played in February of 2005, so I'm putting out these games almost exactly 16 years apart from when these games were played. And I've said this before, but it's kind of fun to think about that too. That everything that we see on here happened 16 years ago, and it feels very current because we're just watching it. But whenever you see people on here, like this was 16 years ago, they've gone on and had lives and kids and stuff like that. GoRush, there he is. He's been playing professional StarCraft for a couple years at this point in time. For a few years, he's had some good success, and now we know that he eventually is going to become, I believe he was a commentator and just a general, I think he was a coach or something like that. He's just become really legendary all-around personality in esports and been very successful, so it's kind of cool to see that. Goodfriend, I'm actually not sure what Goodfriend got up to. He was not quite as successful as GoRush in general. But it was still a very, very strong player in this era. Let me see. I'm actually going to look up in the background. I forgot. Probably should look this up ahead of time. But what he did after. I think he became a coach as well. Let me see. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time looking at it, but it looks like, no, he wasn't a coach or anything like that. He just kind of he did keep playing competitively. Actually, it looks like he was even playing competitively even till early 2007. He was in the OSLs. So, strong player for some years, actually. But it looks like he didn't take the route of going for a coach or anything like that. Anyway, yes. Oh, and I remember I told you before about how his nickname was Count Dukeldals von Empfenketevim or whatever. I actually just saw when I was trying to look up his history that apparently if you type his name on an English keyboard, that's what it comes out to. And so that's, I guess, where the nickname came from, because when they were typing it. And it's actually funny because a lot of these guys, when they're streaming now, that's their Twitch name, right? Like Best, the Protoss player Best. And I know the game is going on. Sorry, I'm rambling about this other stuff, but we're watching the game. I'm keeping an eye on it. We've got hatchery down with the 2 barracks, pretty standard stuff, very normal play. Probably gonna need to get back to focusing on this game in about 45 seconds when those Marines start heading out. But yeah, some of the Korean streamers, like Best's streamer name, like his Twitch name, is the letters on the keyboard that you would, the English letters on the keyboard that you would type if you were typing his name on a Korean keyboard, basically, if that makes sense. Anyway, both players have scouted each other as well, so they know what's going on. Drone scout going out just to make sure no shenanigans are happening. Interesting a little bit to see. Never mind. I was going to say something, but I'm not sure if it's actually happening, so it may not be interesting to see it. But Goodfriend going for his very same build as always versus Zerg. It looks like 2 barracks. It's very especially strong on this map, which is well, a lot of the maps are weird actually, but on this map, with the main and the low ground behind and this kind of wide open spot, it's pretty easy to get pinned down on this map. Oh, he actually stops moving his scouting SCV and almost dies, and he actually tries to go back, and somehow that SCV is taking a lot of damage. How many hits does it take to get to the center of an SCV hit point pool? And it finally gets polished off, so he doesn't get back into the main base to get a secondary scout in, which is kind of important. And he also, I think, was out of range to excuse me, I think he was out of range to see that sunken colony going down, or the creep colony going down as well, which will very likely be turned into a sunken colony at some point. But we'll see. But anyway, these Zerglings are out on the map, doing a good job. They're going to go over and poke to see. And this ramp is very difficult to hold for the Terran player. If you can see some of those Marines are technically on the low ground, and so they would have maybe trouble firing at Zerglings on the high ground, which apparently I always thought it was a 50-50 miss rate, and I looked it up recently because someone had a comment about it that was asking about it. Apparently it's a 46% miss rate, so it's not exactly 50-50, which is interesting. So that's kind of weird. But anyway, we got the Marines, we got the 2 medics, we got the 2 firebats. Stimming his whole group in order to chase that Zergling behind the mineral line. I did not know the Zerglings could run behind those minerals. That's actually kind of interesting. That takes a lot of energy off those medics. Those medics, after healing up 4 Marines and 2 firebats after a stim, that's a lot of energy down the drain. Wasn't quite necessary. So, and he's stimming again. GoRush is doing a good job of forcing these stims, although it looks like he's going to lose a couple Zerglings for it. Sorry, for some reason the video's not doing completely great today. I don't know if it's these videos or if it's actually my video player, but we've got a little bit of some video artifacts popping up there. Sorry about that. But anyway, we got a nice sunken line set up, so I don't think he's gonna get broken. He's kind of toying with it, he's taunting it. He's saying, "All right, I'm gonna push in here. I'm gonna attack," but actually canceling the 4th colony. That's kind of interesting. Maybe because I'm not sure what that prompted that actually. But maybe because he's had this Zergling back here and he sees that the reinforcements are staying at home to block the counterattack rather than rallying to the front to go for an all-in. A 3rd barracks going down, by the way, as well as an engineering bay and the factory. So yeah, Goodfriend says, "I've pressured you into making sunken colonies. Now I'm going to go back home and defend against the mutalisks, which are inevitable." That's what mutalisks say. They say they're inevitable. Getting a little bit of Goodfriend's first-person view here. Making units out of 3 barracks here. It's going to be putting out a lot of stuff. Getting the engineering bay upgrade as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a push here with just a bunch of Marines and tanks to go along with it. That's interesting because it's got a Queen's Nest on the high ground. Kind of hiding it a little bit, but also putting it a little bit in vulnerable position. But does he have a hive going down? That's the reason. That's the only reason you make a Queen's Nest generally is for the hive at this point of the game. But he's producing a lot of mutalisks. Okay, yeah, there is the hive. So, you know, we've seen Guardians a lot on this map, and there we go. Queen's Nest directly into hive, directly into Greater Spire. Very interesting. He's going to go for very, very fast Guardians on this map, which can be very effective. You know, the Terran player is probably going to be getting their expansion up before too long. And, I mean, unless this is just some kind of a crazy all-in, but I don't think he can quite afford to go all-in. The all-in opportunity would have been earlier in the game. But we got 2 base Guardians tech. I mean, he's probably going to get a 3rd base before too long. You kind of need that 3rd gas to really support high-tech units for very long, but it could be just a major attack anyway. Anyway, point being, though, you know, you can put the Guardians behind the mineral line and attack the expansion if the Terran has an expansion, and it's a very effective, very tactically advantageous spot. Of course, a couple Wraiths can sometimes dash all of the hopes of the entire Guardian squadron. A couple Science Vessels as well, if they can get out, but sometimes we do see Zerg players are able to defend against that. They can Scourge or have a few extra Mutalisks or something along those lines to defend against the Wraiths or Science Vessels. So it's kind of a back and forth, but either way, the Terran is the one that's forced to play defensive and forced to play reactive to those Guardians behind their mineral line, but he's not getting an expansion. And GoRush, to his credit, is not either. He's not spending the money on extra bases when he can't really afford it. He's just saved up a bunch of bank for those Guardians. And look at this, he's made so many sunken colonies just to delay. The entire purpose of that is just a bunch of meat, a wall of living, building meat in the way to slow down this push. To make the push slower so that he can buy time for the Guardians, and he's got Guardians on top of the Sunkens as well. He's going to push out and try and kill off those tanks, but now he's going to have to force to run away from the Marines, but the Marines are forced to run away from the Sunkens. And in the meantime, Guardians are punishing the engineering bay. He's going to force probably a cancel there on the upgrade. It actually doesn't even cancel and lift because he's too busy focused back at home. The Marines are stimming in, trying to kill off all of the Sunkens before there's too many Guardians in play, but there's already 3 Sunkens raining down their death upon those Marines, and only a handful of Marines survive, and there's several Sunken colonies left, and we could see a very quick finish to game number 2. We might see GoRush obliterate Goodfriend a second time in a row here, ladies and gentlemen, because he is all over the place. He's killed off the engineering bay and 4 supply depots. He might not be supply capped, though, because the other Guardians killed so many Marines that he might have lost all the supply. SCV's running out. What did the... Okay, those SCVs have just given in. I'm not sure why they were running there exactly. That was a little bit weird. That was strange, just kind of donating those SCVs. But this is not looking good at all. Okay, he's got 2 starports. He's making wraiths. He can actually, he's gonna wait for a cloak or a couple more raids or something like that. Oh, there's 1 devourer and 3 mutalisks as the backup force to defend against the wraiths. Beautiful, and it's actually really cool because if he can hit, even if he gets cloak, the devourer will reveal the wraiths. If there are any uncloaked wraiths, the spores, the acid spores will spread and reveal everything, so the mutalisks can do the extra bonus damage. So Goodfriend looks to be in very dire trouble here. The one answer he possibly had was these wraiths, but it looks like they're going to get traded back. Actually, he's just got enough Marines that he's able to threaten those Guardians. They can't get in far enough to do damage to the buildings right now without being within range of the Marines stimming over and killing them off. And the wraiths are actually doing a good job too. So Goodfriend is actually going to be able to hold off these Guardians at his main base, but he's still not in great shape. He can't afford to leave his base with those Marines, otherwise he's going to lose to the Guardians and the other air units. So this is kind of an interesting situation, but you know what? What do you do when you have map control and you can't necessarily kill your opponent? Every race in StarCraft, the answer is the same. You just get more bases, you get more econ, you get more map control, you get better control of the game in general. And that's what GoRush is doing. He's getting a 3rd base. Actually a 4th base, I think, as well. So he is, you know, looking to just explode onto the map, and even 3 bases versus 1 is just really difficult to pull off, you know, as the Terran player. Now, he's actually pushing out with a sizable force here that has kind of scared GoRush. He's fallen back with his mutas. It looks like he's trying to fall back with his Guardians. He's made a bunch more mutas as well. And the siege goes up again, and this time he's got wraiths to defend against the Guardians. And it looks like he has a lot of mutalisks, though. That is so many mutas. I don't know if he's expected that many mutas. The 1 devourer there just to add on the juice, add on the purple juice in order to make sure that the mutalisks are juiced up and doing more damage. Sorry, I'm thinking of the streamer that I watch called Doey, who's a fastest map possible streamer that Rise actually told me about. He calls it purple jam or purple jelly or something like that. That's what I was thinking of, purple juice. Anyway, but the Guardians have returned home to defend, and I don't think he's gonna be able to push in against this. Now, is he going to be able to use this to take some more control back on the map, though? Meaning Goodfriend. Can he get an expansion up while he's got this siege underway? While he's laying siege with these... And he's actually got a lot of wraiths as well to support the Marines and the tanks. But there are so many mutalisks. And actually, it looks like he's... Oh, he was... never mind, he didn't actually just go in. He was kind of just losing some mutalisks. Mutalisks are very, very baitable. They just get baited in very easily. But this is... Hold on, I thought he's going in with the Guardians, and he's fighting with the mutalisks as well, and he's fought back all of the Marines. The tanks get finished off. The mutalisks are going to give chase and finish off the last of the Marines as well. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The GG has not been typed yet, but this game is over. Goodfriend is going to lose the second game because GoRush has 4 bases. 4 bases, a completely unharassed economy. Goodfriend has nothing. Goodfriend has no tanks, no wraiths, no Marine army. He's got a handful of stuff in his main just to mean that it's going to be a little bit difficult for GoRush to go off with the finishing move. But here comes, you know, the deep voice saying finish him, and the Guardians are going to be doing up, up, down, down, left, right, whatever. I actually don't remember any of the... I was never able to get any of the Mortal Kombat finishing moves to work ever. Even if I read the Nintendo Power issue that described how to do the key combination. I just was never able to get it to work, so that's why I don't really know any of the combinations. But GoRush does know the combination, and it's a bajillion Mutalisks with half a bajillion Devours with a little bit of Purple Jam thrown in on top for flavor. And there's the GG finally. GoRush is going to take game number 2, and I'm a little surprised. After the battle that GoRush, I'm sorry, that Goodfriend put up against July Zerg, I expected him to be a little bit more of a match for GoRush. But GoRush is just dominating both of these games so far. Just outplaying Goodfriend very, very, very convincingly. So, wow. So well played by GoRush though. Absolutely amazing. He's on his way to a 3rd place finish. But you know what? Nada was also down 0-2, and he came back and won 3 games in a row, if I remember correctly, and was able to clinch the best of 5. So Goodfriend is not out of it yet. We'll see if he can tie up, get a win, maybe get 2 wins and tie up the series, or if he can at least get 1 win and get himself back on some reverse momentum here. But right now, 2-0. GoRush looking very, very strong here, and we'll see if he can pull it off in game number 3 or 4 or 5. But thanks very much for watching another exciting game. 2 base Guardians in 2005. What a world. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.